Hi everyone, welcome back to Sacred Flow TV, and this week we're going to be chatting just how we want to chat. Kirk, I don't know how you feel, but with all this hot weather, I just felt I want to talk rituals, I want to talk power, I want to talk about what we get up to. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. And yes, it has been extremely hot, extremely hot. So
Mm.
I'm definitely okay with talking about rituals. In fact, I think it's a great topic to talk about. This is Sacred Flow TV. We talk about all things spiritual. So,
Yeah, and of course, witches love their tools. Witches just love everything that's sparkly and lovely. But when you come to shamanic practice, we like earthy stuff. We like power stuff, drums and sticks and, furs. And I know a lot of people got a thing about you can't have fur, but I'm sorry. I have furs and they're used in rituals. I wouldn't walk down the street with them, but they have the animal's essence in, which I need to journey with. And so that's the way it is in my practice. What's it like in yours when it comes to that sort of stuff?
so rituals is a lot of things that are used. Me, I am one of those practitioners who knows quite a few forms of culture, magic, whatever you want to call it, and,
Mm.
of course we use the elements. I am an earth sign, so I'm what's called an earthbender. But of
Mm.
course, I utilize water, air, and fire. The elements of the earth are very important to use within ritual, within
Oh,
drumming, connecting with the air.
mm.
Um, when you sing, dance, or have your chants, it's flowing out to the air. It's reaching the air, so it's reaching the angels, the gods, your ancestors, whatever your intent is for the ritual.
Yeah.
So we are human beings, so we have obviously domain over the planet because we live here. So when
Mm.
we put out our request, they don't fall on deaf ears. There's always someone listening.
Mm. Of course. And that is something to any newbies out there. You have to remember when you put that little light on, which we've always been taught, when you're doing ritual or even meditations, you're psychically putting a little light on which draws anything in that vicinity is going to inquire what's that. And so that's why we talk about protection and grounding, so that you are not in any physical or mental or spiritual danger. So yeah, they're always listening, they're always there. If they know you want to do a ritual of some sort, they will come. And so we need to be prepared. And so like in my rituals, anything goes really. um in fact, anybody watch off, because I do a lot of dance, I do a lot of singing, I do a lot of drumming, rattling, anything I can make noise with, and you ride high, and that's when you get what you're asking for, because that is an energy, and goes out it goes out far, and you know about that, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Then it's of course, just ways, like you said, to the newbies to know that when you put these
Mm.
things out there, you want the right energies to hear what you are requesting or what you're putting out into the atmosphere.
Mm. Yeah.
Some people believe that you can do it internally, mentally,
Yeah.
and it'll go to where it is. So the ones who are not supposed to hear it won't hear it, or you could put a request out there for specific energies to hear it, or you could even whisper it.
Yeah.
Grounding is a great thing, of course.
Mm.
It's actually essential because you don't want to walk around feeling a lot of anxiety and can't sleep and just
Yeah.
whatever comes with it. So, of course, everyone who doesn't know or may have heard this before, just to plant your feet outside, your bare feet on the earth,
Oh
on the
God, yeah.
soil, on the grass, and you let the earth take in all of that anxiety. Grounding is basically calming you down. It's basically
Mm.
anchoring you, you know. Now, I am aware that some people live in places where you cannot plant your feet on the ground, especially if you live here in the United States. You know, there are some cities within states that the last thing you want to do is plant your feet on the ground. You know, dirt, and I'm not saying dirt from like the earth, which is the bad dirt, glass, broken glass, things like that,
Oh, right. Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, absolutely. So you can do with what I say when I balance people's chakras and stuff like that. Right below the root chakra is the earth's disc. So you can just imagine the branches,
Mm-hmm.
trees coming up from the earth's core, and it
Yeah.
comes up, starts to wrap around your feet, almost like a snake. It just kind of like wraps around your feet
Yeah.
and legs. And you have to imagine the color brown, the darkest brown that you can, and it'll get to your knee, the top of your knee, or the top of your thigh, if you would. And you'll start to feel all these tingling sensations in your legs, and then it'll
Mm.
start to ground you and calm you after that. And this is secondary if you are not able to uh, plant your feet on the grass. That's just one
Right.
aspect of.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's
Yeah.
very important before and after a ritual.
Yeah. I mean, in Seder, if we haven't got access to the earth to stand on, then I keep a big, well, it's not a bowl, it's a big barrel, and I keep a lot of earth in that. And
Mhm.
so you can then get a bowl, take the earth out of that when you want it, put it in the bowl and stick your feet in it so you can feel that earth. And for any people that's starting new, that's a big help because they can visualize the earth more when they felt it with their feet. So
Mhm.
wriggling your toes in the earth, feeling the coldness of it or the
Mhm.
warmth of it, depending on what time of the year it is. And I like to leave things like little worms in it and things like that so that you can be with nature. You can then start to hear them. And as you progress, you'll start to hear the animals, you'll start to hear the insects while you're visualizing how you're grounded. And I find when I've taught people in the past, at first they're very reluctant to do that. They're not keen on the fact that if they put their feet in that, there might be a creepy crawly in it. And, and I like to terrorize them a bit, bless. I'm very kind. And I like to give them all a bowl with the earth, and I put some little wormies in,
Right.
maybe snail or something like that. And then sometimes I might put a few crystals in or something so that they get to feel the difference between different things. And after a while, they get used to that. They're quite good with it. And then they think, oh, yeah, that's really cool. But to start with, it's like dragging them to do it. Like, no, don't like that idea.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's practice within this path. No matter what your path is, how you start out to, where you end up, and we're forever students. So we're always
Of
learning
course.
things. But just the thought of doing certain things within spirituality, it is hilarious when you think back to where you began. You're like, oh, wow, I would have never done that. And then later on, you're like, oh, this is what I'm about to do. And it's like second nature. You don't even think about it.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing I used to do with when I used to run classes, I used to get them to they'd all come in and I say, right now, let's sit. I go, right now, I want you to all go outside now in the street, and I want you to find me different things. Like I want someone to find me feathers, I want someone to find me some leaves, and I want to find me some stones. And I'd send them out to go do that, and I give them a certain amount of time and see what they come back with, and then we do readings with that. So they seem to enjoy things like that. If you get them involved in where it's all coming from, then they get the essence of what they're doing. If I already had those things and just handed it to them, they wouldn't understand. It would just be an item that was given to them. So they have to go out and find it, bring it back, sit and
Mhm.
then write about it. I mean, they hated my lessons for that way because everything they did, they had to write about it as homework and bring it back the next time. And a lot of them, oh, we've been so busy, I didn't have time to do it. And then, no, if you really want this, you'll work for it, you know.
Absolutely. Oh man.
I know. But yeah, that's where you get to know the ones that really want it, because if they really want it, it's like treasure. You dig for it, you work for it, and you only get it if you work enough for it.
And most importantly, you have to listen and learn, you know?
Yeah.
That's the most important part, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, you know, when you get these lovely festivals and people go to and they have markets there and they all go in and, oh, I love that. I've got to have that. I've got to have that. But none of them think about making their own tools.
Right.
Now, that is something that we were taught when I was in Coven. You make your own tools. You don't accept nothing that's just made, because it's all about energy. It's all about bonding and making the effort to get your tools rather than just buying something. And I know there's a lot of people that can't do that. They just can't do that. And then fair dues, then buy it. But if you can, you'll get so much more from it. And
absolutely. Yeah. Just like me, you know what I'm working on right now. So it's just like, you know, my very first staff, you know, and I'm very proud of it. And everything I did, I had to go out in nature and find everything. And, you know, and of course, we all live in certain parts of the planet. So there are certain things that I did not have access to. And I had to, you know, order it, you know, but it was all for it. It was all for the staff. So it's just, you know, some things are coming from where you are, you know, believe it or not, you know, that we don't have access to over here.
Yes.
And some things I had found in very spacious, I'll say country mountain parts of the United States. That's way far for me. So I had to order something else as well. And I'm like, wow, so I'm putting all this together. But I'll say 80% of it was me and what I found in doing the things on my own. So it's just like, you know, of course, if I could teleport to England and grab this and then teleport to the mountains over here and grab that, then that would be
exactly.
that would have been great. But
I mean, in those, but you're still putting it together. That's the point. Doesn't matter how you get the things. If you can't get them where you live, if you can get them from somewhere, that's good. But putting it all together yourself is the main aspect, really. And it's amazing how many people think they can't do something until they try.
Absolutely. You know? Did I think I could do this? No, not at all. But, you know, I'm finding that I can do a lot of things that I never thought was possible. So I shouldn't be shocked that I created this. But
it's true.
You know,
I mean, I've had this drum for years, and I've been saying to myself for years that I want to put my runes on. And do I get round to doing it? No. And I know it's been coming to me a lot. I want to put them all on, and I'm either going to go all the way around, like the outside, or I'm going to speckle them. I don't know yet. Or like have small ones and big ones and like do it that way. I don't know. And I'm frightened to ruin it. That's what puts me off. But I know that if I put the effort in and Freya's with me, I would be able to do it. So it's just having trust in yourself, because you don't want to damage something like that. And
this is very true. This reminds me of the intro video that we created, and you had all your runes on your drums and they were just shining out, and that's what it's reminding me of now. It might be time to get it done, you know.
Yeah, it possibly is. And definitely. And now, especially now, I can see better, so I could do it, really. I just keep putting things off, which is something that happens sometimes when witches tend to burn out sometimes. And especially if you're helping a lot of people, guys, I'll tell you that if you're doing a lot of work for the people in your communities, you will need to keep your energy up. And that can be quite hard to do sometimes, because obviously you're a human being and you have your own issues going on. So you have to be very careful and balance it all out. But yeah, you can overdo it. So be careful of that one. But if you do, there's always a way out. And that is to trust in the gods, trust in your helpers, trust in your ancestors. And if they tell you to do something, do it. If they tell you to rest, rest. If they tell you to have certain herbs, use them. Don't just go, oh yeah, I will do it, because they're not joking around, you know.
This is a real thing. This is a real thing. We both have experienced burnout for multiple reasons. I can
Yeah.
definitely say for me, um, I got burnt out so bad I went into spiritual overload, because I was helping so many people. And I will tell you, I had to take months away from doing healing work, because healing work for other people, because I was taking on a lot. I was cleansing, taking my spiritual baths and things like that. But there was too much energy coming in because I was working with that many people. So I had to take a break. And everyone listen to your bodies as well. It'll let you know. Your body will let you know when it's time. You'll feel it. It's like the thought will come. When the thought comes, don't think it's just you. Like Tova said, there's someone speaking to you. One of your helpers are speaking to you, letting you know, hey, it's time to calm down a little bit. Or you'll feel it in your solar plex, in your stomach region. You will feel when it's time to slow down. Just like I remember making my staff, I felt that, one of the gods was telling me to slow down. And then when I got a hold of you and we talked, and the same message came through. And that's the thing. They're like, okay, well, we can't get through to him, so we're going to go through her now to give the message. So that's when I knew I had to stop for now, because I've been working for so many hours, and to get to eat and to rest. That's
right.
what I did, to recharge. So, and everyone, when you are experiencing burnout, rest is very essential. You really have to get rest. Drink lots of fluids, drink water, eat things that coincide with the chakras too, the different colors, eat apple, eat oranges, eat grapes, eat something like that, eat some carrots, something that's going to replenish you from the earth, something that's going to just uplift you in a high frequency or a high vibrational way, to kind of get you back to where you need. Because remember, you're not just doing this healing work or the spiritual work. A lot of people have, of course, lives outside of spirituality, which you should, because you don't want to alleviate away from your human experience. And I see a lot of people doing that. They just stay nothing but spiritual. And then they start to, feel like they're going crazy a little bit, because they're not balancing out their spiritual and their earthly energy. You have to have one, like I would always tell my students, to have one foot on earth and one foot in the spiritual,
Definitely, because some people, they get so absorbed by the spiritual, as you was just saying. I always remember in my coven days, we had on one of the days of the week, we used to do the what do they call, the tree of life, Kabbalah. And each lesson would be where we would sit in temple in our robes, and we would go into deep path working on each realm. And so it became, even in the writings, it said not to do that path working more than once a month, because it was so intense. But there was a couple in the group that they were going home and doing it, and they were doing it every day, because they were getting such a buzz from it that they didn't want to not do it, and everything else. And they were, in the end, they were doing stuff for hours on end. And one of them came a cropper because one of the because you're using the angelics on that, so each sphere's got an angelic, it's their kingdom. And I think she got to one of the realms, I think it was Uriel, someone like that, and he basically, it was a path working where it was about the snake and the snake's bite, and she was walking on the path and the snake came right up to her and bit her, and she woke from it and was screaming in pain, and she had a huge mark on her leg where she'd been bitten in the path working, and it was to basically shake her out of it and stop her doing it because it was dangerous. And for about a month she kept passing out and it was just too much. And so balance is very important. You have to have the mundane with the spiritual, and you have to balance it. So yeah, definitely.
You are right, and you know what this reminds me of.
Well,
One of my students had, he was doing those fire breaths every day, rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of them. And the snake came to him and said, "Hey, slow down. You're doing too much. You're not ready for this magnitude of it." And of course, we know who he didn't listen, and that's when that symbiont attached to him. And of course,
right, yeah.
I remember that. Of course, he called me, and then I'm just leaving the gym. I'm about to go home, and have me a little something to drink. And he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh, I got to come over here now." 4 hours, almost 5 hours of healing. Now, mind you, this is at 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm just like, "Are you serious? This is crazy!" Like, oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. Of course, we can, laugh at it now, but
Yeah.
of course, he wasn't, and I wasn't laughing when that happened. But I know him and I both can laugh about it now. But that was an intense experience. It was an intense experience, and I had to work the next day. I said, this can't be life. It can't be life right now. But we go through our stuff, we make our mistakes. But when you talked about the path working and her getting bit by the snake,
yeah,
that this is
any practitioner though, Kirk, and it's true. You can get caught. I got caught with a symbiont, and that wasn't through my doing. It was the fact that the person I was helping had it on them, and they released it into me, and I didn't know until after. And I had it on the back of my neck, and I could feel it. It was horrible. I just knew there was something there, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I had to go through a very intense healing and an aura strip by a shaman to get it away. And I could see when they were pulling it out the top of my head, I could actually visualize what it looked like, and not nice to look at.
Not at all. And he went through the same thing, and it's interesting you talk about, the back of the neck, because when I released it from him, his neck wasn't right for probably I'll say about 4 months.
Yeah.
Probably about 4 or 5 months. Like, it was removed, but where it was like that hollowness, or just that you could tell something was, it's kind of like, I don't want to compare it to when you sleep wrong and you can't move your neck to the left or right. It's not like that. It's a different feeling, but whatever that sensation was, it stayed for the longest time.
It's an emptiness. It's an emptiness, because I had that.
Right.
And and even to this day, if I get like a tingling on my back, or it feels like someone's touching me, because I get that with the mediumship. So if spirit's trying to contact me, sometimes they'll go like that on my back, and I know they're there. But it always takes me straight back to what that felt like when it was on my neck, and I'm thinking, oh no. Then they go, no, it's all right. We just want to chat, So, all right.
Look, we all have PTSD within something we're dealing with,
Especially after you see what they're taking out. It's like, oh my God.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. It's all the love,
Yeah,
I tell you. For me, when the spirits come in, I can feel them either on the top of
yeah.
my head. I feel like a little funnel is going like this, or
All
my
right.
face will just,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
my
feels
face will
like
start.
cobweb on your face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does. Or
yeah,
if it's a feminine energy that is trying to contact me, I will feel sensations like tingling on my left arm. I always know it's a female presence when it's on my left
yeah,
arm. I don't know what it is, or it'll
mm,
be like this, like someone's going like this on my face. So
yeah.
that's how the female presence is there. I can tell when a male presence is there and when a female presence is there. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Um, and that's something for any of you out there that are embarking on mediumship. Again, you're working with energy, because you're opening yourself up. So a lot of mediums will use the chakra system to do that. And so they open themselves up to receive. And so obviously afterwards you have to be able to shut it down because you don't want to be open for any Tom, Dick and Harry to just ponce on you. You don't want that. So, you know, when you're open, you will get sensations. You'll start to, as I say, you'll feel them on your face or back of your neck, or
Mhm.
sometimes your head. It'll feel like something's pressed, a little bit of pressure on your head. Spirit are with you when you get those sensations, and you just welcome them and say, can I have a communicator? Because that's what you need. You need a spirit that will, a bit like a waiting room. So you've got the door to the doctor's surgery, and he is like the receptionist. And what they do is they open the door and see who's there, and then they let one in at a time. If you don't have that, they come in, all of them, in one go. So you need to be able to have a system where you can trust it and they can trust you. And that takes time.
Mhm.
That takes a lot of practice and time. But once you've got it down to a T, then you don't get pestered. So it's good fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a learning aspect, and it's a lot of testing
Yeah.
ground going on to see if you are trustworthy to these energies, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's people have to realize these energies, whether it's your ancestors, these gods, goddesses, whatever. They're not your personal genies.
No.
They don't own you and you don't own them. It's a working partnership. Some people work with them for transactional purposes. When they
Yeah.
need something, they'll just go to them. And then you have some people who actually form loving relationships with these energies.
Mm.
And to me, it's a dual situation, but in the grand scheme of things, I know it's right when you form a great relationship with these energies, and say if you are manifesting something, requesting something, you want something done.
Mm.
Um, Sometimes the things that you want, you're not meant to get right that second, because it's this thing called divine timing, that we all hate to hear sometimes, because, we're creatures of comfort, we're human, so we want it now. But if
Yeah.
they love you, they will give it to you when the time is right, and they'll delicately put it together so whatever you're manifesting can come to you with ease, with grace, and it can last. It can be everlasting once they give it to you. Versus you're just working with someone who you have no relationship with, and
Yeah.
it's just a transactional purpose, and they give it to you, and then it could be to your detriment. But hey, you requested it, so it's just like just seeing the difference in the two. If they truly love you, it's some spiritual practices believe that these energies are not your friend,
Mm.
that don't love you. You know, they're there for transactional purposes. Okay, you want
Yeah.
this, so I'm going to take this from you, but I'll give you that in place of it. Um, I've in my practices, I found that not to be true.
Mm.
You know,
So,
if they really love you, they will give it. They'll help you out.
yeah. I find it's like a deep friendship, and
Mhm.
as a friendship, you have to build it up. So you have to be in contact regular. You have to not be the sort of person that picks something up and puts it down. You've got to show that you are going to be consistent, and
Mm-hmm.
once that they then grow, it's a bit like when you get a friendship, you meet the person, then you start seeing them more often, and then you start doing things together, going out and about or whatever, like whatever you want to learn, you do together. And then after a while, you become besties. And once you're at that stage, then the trust is there, because you know that they aren't there just to get what they want. They're actually there because they want to be, and you too. So it is a partnership. And when you get people that just call on a deity for a ritual and then let them go, that's when there's no trust. You can't have trust in something you don't know. So if you're going to work with a deity, I would always suggest that you make a good relationship with that said deity before moving on to any other deity. Get them to be your friend and you theirs. And then you can say to them, would you mind if I chat to another one, if you want more than one? But as newbies, I would suggest you get a good guide to start with. Then you move on to, say, your ancestors and get their knowledge and what they think you should do, and then move on to your deity. But everybody's different and everyone does it in a different order. But the order that I think works well is to take things slowly, build a relationship, then you can work together and you can do so much, you can learn so much. But they're not going to teach you unless you know them.
No, that's the truth. That's the God honest truth.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many forms of rituals and gods and goddesses out there. Oh, and I
Mm-hmm.
think like one of the rituals in Seder that I find is, it's a beautiful ritual, and it is just a ritual of being. And if you're living in the right place, you can find like stones that you can sit with, or burials. I mean, in England, we've got a lot of burial mounds. So if you can get to one of them, it's amazing. And the burial mounds go back centuries. So you've got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of spirit that can come from that. If
Mm-hmm.
not, a graveyard. There's, graveyards are very peaceful places. And
They
you can
really
sit,
are. They really are.
you can be guided to the right stone to sit by. And you're not being disrespectful by sitting in a graveyard. And to sit there,
Mm-hmm.
and we call it utasita, and that is where you sit at night by a gravestone or a mound, like an old mound, and you just sit with your head covered. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I've got these little things that I hang over with lots of little things that make a noise. And
Mm-hmm.
what happens is, if spirit come, they jingle, and but you sit in the quiet and you just absorb whatever comes to you. And if there's messages, or, you know, people from the different graves that have been there that have come back because they feel that energy of a magical worker being there. And it's not that they're hanging around their grave, but they just feel drawn. So they come and they give message. Ancestors and those from way, way back will come. But some people will sit for 12, 14 hours at a time in complete, peaceful, calm, with a covering over their head. And that is called utasita. And that is one of the rituals that in Seder we do. Yeah.
Interesting. Good to hear. Good to hear. I always
Yeah.
like to hear different practices from around the world and what people do. It's
Mm.
pretty awesome, you know?
And for those of the, because I called, I've actually got a video on it. There's Utasita, and then I called it Intasita. For those of you that can't get out, that are bound indoors, there's nothing to stop you doing the same sort of thing. If you can get some grave dirt, and maybe something that reminds you of a loved one that's in the graveyard, and you put it by the thing, and you cover your head and you sit in your own room or out in the garden, and do it that way. So
Mhm.
you're not stopped from doing that ritual by your circumstances, because there's a lot of disabled witches out there. There's a lot of disabled practitioners out there. And for them that can't get out and about, that would be an ideal way of doing it.
That's good. So if everybody hears that, if there's a certain type of disability that's prohibiting you from going to the cemetery, doing rituals, getting dirt, just get some and, take
Yeah.
it home and do some workings with it.
And another thing, tool wise, what sort of tools do you use in your main practice?
Tools are my main practices that I use. Well, it just depends on what I have going on. It's a lot of herbs that I use, different oils that I use. Um, Sometimes it's, I use graveyard dirt in a lot of my rituals.
Yeah.
I use river water in my rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just a lot of things that I use, different powders that I may make, with
Right. So
my
yours is,
medicinal.
so it's basically mainly elemental things rather than actual tools. So this stuff is your first real tool.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, a
Amazing.
lot of my rituals are earth. I mean, I'm sorry, a lot of my rituals are mind magic that I
Yeah,
do.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of it, we are, of course, in the new timeline. So a lot of these, and I'm not saying this for everyone who's watching to say not to light your candles, not to,
No.
do things like that. But where we are now in this quote unquote age of Aquarius, you can use this right here and you'll
Of
have the same
course.
effects. You don't have to use candles. You don't have to use jars. You don't have to use physical items. With altars, you are the altar within. Okay, but
Yeah.
we're not going to take away from what we had going on while using these things. So yes, you can still use them.
Mm.
So the physical, tangible things would be for me would be like like I said, the herbs, the elementals, and things like that.
Yeah.
Now the staff, of course, is I've never made a staff before. This is my very first time making a staff when said deity came to me in my dream and basically said, okay, time is of the essence. You have to make this staff. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm making this. I don't know what it's for. I don't know the
Mm.
reason behind making it. But that was enough confirmation for me to know that I needed to go and make a staff.
Yeah.
Going out in nature, getting the right thing out of nature to even bring to my home to create this said staff. But I will tell you, it's not even done all the way, but the connection that I have to it already. I haven't even done anything to
Mm.
it ritualistically, if you would, but I still feel that connection to it. Even when I touch it, I just feel like it's mine. Like it's a part of me
Yeah.
because of all of the work that I did to put it together.
Yeah.
Or
It's a powerful thing. I mean, I made this years ago, and it is. It's like a love. There's a love between it and yourself, and every time you hold it, touch it, it bonds with you, it merges with
Mhm,
you, and it's security, and it's a bond that you know you're safe, and it's safety. It's lovely. And it remembers as well, and it goes before you in ritual. It goes before you, and it protects. And it can be your snake. It can be your poison. So it's a fantastic thing to own and have your own staff. For I would say any type of witch, really. A
mhm,
staff is very. If you look at a lot of the old drawings in the books, they always had a staff or a stang or a stag.
mhm,
You know, um, I just think there's power in it.
mhm. Absolutely. I can't wait to put mine together all the way and show it to you because
Mm.
it's definitely going to be It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Everything that I was downloaded with in order to formulate how this is going to look.
Yeah.
So what I showed you was just the basic creation of it. So now we're just in the design stage now. So all the hard working I did and all those hours that I spent, out in nature making the staff. I mean, it was well worth it, because I can kind of sit here and look at the fruits of my labor with that. I'm just so proud of myself, doing this.
Well, you should be, because it's something you never thought about doing before, something you never thought you'd want to do, and now you're doing it. You can see how lovely it is, how lovely the feeling is, and the bonding, and then when you come to do the birthing ritual on it, you're going to love that.
I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah. So any of you guys out there, if you've got any questions, leave them below and we'll always get back to you. And as you can see, both me and Kirk, we both have different practices, but we're still, even though we've got different practices and different pasts, we also enjoy the Nordic as well. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And everyone, don't forget to like this video too.
Yeah.
Like the video on the way in. Yep, like the video on the way in, like the video on the way out.
Give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up, share this video, subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of information that we have that we are looking forward to showing to the collective, speaking to the collective. This is Sacred Flow TV, so stay tuned. There's a lot more content coming your way.
Definitely. And the more people that become part of this channel, the more we can do, guys. So remember that if you're watching and not letting us know you're around, you will eventually, because that's what we're here for. We're to help you and show you things that you might not read in books or hear anywhere else. And we just want to flow our energies into all of you. The knowledge that we've got, we want to give to you too. So welcome if you've been watching, and you are welcome. We really want to get a lovely community of people together, and so we can all talk to each other, have lives and things like that. So just hit that little button. Doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get a lot from it. Promise. So I suppose we're going to leave it there then this week. And if you want to have a certain subject, leave it in the comments below and we'll get back on that. We'll have a look at it and see what we can do for you.
Absolutely. So everyone watching this, we hope you have a great, wonderful, and safe day. And hey, stay grounded, everybody.
Yeah. Protection and grounding. First rule. Anyway, take care, all of you, and we will be back really soon. Bye for now.
Bye.